I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call has been taken. We have a quorum. Hopefully, everybody got a chance to read the agenda. And I never got mine. Thursday? So if, I look for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Tim, seconded by Dennis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Agenda is approved. We are going to do a little moving around as Mr. Doms is not here at this moment. So we are going to begin with the Henry.
Mr. Chair, I wonder if we had did we do the minutes? Approval of the minutes?
Oh, you are correct. I'd like to approve the minutes look for a motion to approve the minutes from January 27th, if there are no additions or corrections. Motion by Dennis, seconded by Tim. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Hey, we're gonna move things around a little bit. We're gonna see the second applicant first. So I am looking for a motion to approve to open the public hearing for Matt and Amanda Henry.
So moved.
Motion by Tim, seconded by Dennis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is open. Take it away, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, this is a variance request to reduce the ordinary high water level and road setbacks for residential use. This property is located just north of Moorhead in Craigness Township. Its zoning is agricultural general. The overlay zoning is a little complicated just with the river just to the east there. So floodplain fringe, floodway, shoreline special protection rivers and streams are all overlay zoning districts on this property. And it is a residential parcel, currently has a residence and outbuilding on it. The applicant is asking for an 18-foot variance from the required 150-foot ordinary high water level stream setback, so bringing that down from 150 feet to 132 feet, and then a 13-foot variance from the required 53-foot road setback that's in the shoreline district. All other requirements could be met, including the side yard setbacks as well. And the applicant did provide a narrative in terms of their practical difficulty, and I'll just read this. Strict application of both the 150-foot lake stream setback and the 53-foot road setback creates a practical difficulty due to the unique configuration and depth of the lot. When these two setbacks are applied simultaneously, the remaining buildable area is extremely constrained, leaving minimal space for new construction. Without the requested variances, we would be required to make drastic modifications to the home design that would significantly limit the functionality for our family, delay our ability to build this year, and potentially prevent construction on the lot altogether. It is not a self-created hardship, or rather results from the cumulative effect of the required setbacks on this specific parcel. Our intent is to build our family home on this lot because of its natural beauty, its proximity to the city while still offering a rural setting, and its location near extended family members who also live in the same cul-de-sac. The proposed variances are the minimum necessary to allow reasonable use of the property and will not alter the character of the area or negatively impact neighboring properties. Even with the requested adjustments, the home will continue to maintain significant separation from the lake stream and the roadway. We respectfully request consideration of these variances so we may proceed with building our family home in a manner that is responsible, compatible with the surrounding area, and consistent with the intent of the ordinance. So you can kind of see here where the plan would be to build. So closer to the roadway and further back from the lake than the existing residence. Kind of see here as well. So it would be 100 between the setbacks of 110th Avenue North and Buffalo River. They do have the driveway and septic area shown on there, and I should say that environmental health has looked at these plans and doesn't have any issue with the septic placement, says there's adequate space for drain fields and that meets all their requirements. One thing that should be noted is right now there's already an older residence on the property that was constructed in the late 50s, and the existing residence is about 64 feet from the ordinary high water level, so this would be a significant reduction from that. Also, part of the existing residence is located in the regulatory floodway. That's another constraint on this lot, is just the floodplain and the floodway. And so the current placement would take, or the proposed placement would take it out of the floodway and the floodplain as well. How this request relates to our comprehensive plan: we have a goal to protect and enhance the health and vitality of Clay County surface waters, including lakes, rivers, and streams, for the benefit and enjoyment of Clay County residents and visitors. And this request does appear generally consistent with that goal. Even though they're requesting variance relief from that our 150-foot ordinary high water setback, the 132 feet is much further from the Buffalo River than the current structure, which is at 64 feet. And we have a objective to reduce development pressure on natural environment lakes, but also on rivers and streams in Clay County. And again, it's not creating any more intensive use, just removing an existing residence and replacing it with a new residence, essentially, that is further away from the river than the current residence. Any questions for me at all? No comment from the township, no. They would sign off on a building permit, though, for it, yep.
Hearing none, excuse me. Is the applicant here, and would the applicant care to speak for your project? If so, please come to the podium and state your name. And
My name is Matt Henry. I grew up out in that area my entire life. Like I said, when the opportunity arose for us to get this property, we jumped on it. And like it was stated, it will enhance that neighborhood. The structure that was originally on there was kind of dilapidated and old. I guess I don't see any issues. All the neighbors are for it. I know all the neighbors, grew up with all of them. So none of them have any issues with the proposed building house that we have there.
anyone have any questions for him? I'd like to thank you for doing your homework before you come here. A big thing for me is the meeting with the environmental, the health agency for the county, and having that all done ahead of time. That's a big deal to me personally.
Thank you.
The light is green.
Perfect.
And thank you, and I think, I don't see, it's a win, the new.
Get it further away from the water.
Yep, and potential flood damage, flood mitigation that you would have to do, you move it out, out of the floodplain, or, part of it. This looks like a good thing, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak for or against? Anyone in the audience wish to speak for or against this proposal? Anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak for or against this proposal? Hearing none, look for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Dennis, seconded by Tim. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried, public hearing is closed. Now we will go through the findings of fact.
And Mr. Chair and board members, just as we've done previously, do have draft findings for you for approval or denial if applicable. So please feel free to do with those as you see fit.
Thank you. I will begin. Is the granting of the variance in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Clay County Development Code? And a yes finding would be granting the requested variance appears to be in harmony with the general purposes intent of the Clay County Development Code because the request is for dimensional relief to allow a permitted single-family residential use on an existing lot, not to establish a prohibited or more intensive use. The proposal would still maintain substantial separation from the roadway and the ordinary high water level. The record does not indicate the request would materially undermine the ordinance's purpose of the ordinary development and protection of public health, safety, and water. And a denial finding, or a no, would be granting the requested variance is not in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Clay County Land Development Code because the request would allow continued encroachment into the shoreland setback area rather than full compliance with the current standard. Approval would require permit construction closer to the ordinary high water level than ordinary allowed and reduce the protection intended by the setback requirement. I would 100% agree. Dennis, if you could read number 2.
Is the requested variance consistent with the Clay County Comprehensive Land Use Plan? Approval findings, yes, the requested variance are consistent with the Clay County Comprehensive and Transportation Plan. The proposed does not create additional lot, increase the density, or induce more intensive use. It replaces the existing residence that is substantially closer to the ordinary high water level, and particularly within the regulatory floodway, within the new residence located further from the water, thereby reducing the site's existing level of shoreline encroachment and the development of pressure on the lake environment.
Yeah.
I'd say yes.
I would agree. The third finding, does the applicant establish that there are practical difficulties in complying with the strict letter of the Clay County Land Development Code by demonstrating that the applicant proposes to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by an official control? An approval finding, yes, the applicants propose to place a single-family dwelling on the property, which is a reasonable use of the lot. The difficulty arises from the challenge of placing the dwelling in a fully conforming location due to the combined setback requirements, not from an unreasonable proposed use. Part B is exceptional or extraordinary circumstances apply to the property that do not apply generally to other properties in the same district or vicinity, in which result from lot size, shape, topography, or other circumstances over which the landowner has no control or influence. And I'm gonna continue through and say yes. An approval finding, yes, the exceptional circumstances appear to apply to the property because the buildable area is constrained by the combined effect of the shoreland setback and road setback on this specific lot. These constraints appear tied to the lot's existing physical configuration and location rather than to the circumstances created by the current owners. Or denial. The applicants have not sufficiently established exceptional or extraordinary circumstances unique to this property. if it can be found that similarly situated lots in the same district or vicinity are subject to comparable setback limitations and that the claimed hardship reflects a common condition of shoreland lots rather than a circumstance unique to this parcel.
Yes.
Yep. Dennis, if you want to do C?
Granting the variance will not alter the essential characteristics of the property's locality. Yes, granting the request variance would not appear to alter the essential character of the locality because the proposed remains a single-family residence used on an existing residential lot and does not appear to introduce a different land use, greater intensity, or a pattern of development inconsistent with the surrounding areas. Practical difficulties as used in common are in connection with the granting of a variance means the property owner proposes to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by an official control. The plight of the landowner is due to circumstances unique to the property, not created by the landowner, and the variance, if granted, will not alter the essential characters of the locality. Economic considerations alone do not constitute practical difficulties. Variances shall be granted for earth shelter construction as defined in section 216C.06 subdivision 14 when in harmony with official controls. Yes?
I agree. Would the literal interpretation of the provisions of the Clay County Land Development Code deprive the applicants of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same district order under this ordinance? The approval would mean that a literal application of the setback requirements would deprive the applicants of a right commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same district, namely, the ability to place a principal single-family dwelling on the parcel in a reasonable manner. The combined setback requirements leave a limited building envelope, and the requested relief allows continued residential use of the property while still improving the existing setback condition relative to the current residence. And a denial finding would be the literal application of the ordinance would not deprive the applicants of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same district, because the record does not conclusively establish that no conforming building location, reduced footprint, alternative orientation, or other compliant design solution is available on the parcel.
Yes.
Dennis, why don't you do number 5?
Is the variance being granted the minimum variance that would alleviate the practical difficulty? Approval finding, yes, the request variance are the minimum necessary to alleviate the practical difficulties based on the site plan and the physical constraints of the parcel. Limited encroachment into both setback areas is necessary to place a reasonable single-family dwelling on the lot. The proposal also represents a substantial improvement over the existing residence, which is much closer to the OHWL and particularly within the regulatory floodway. A denial finding, no, the request variance have not been shown to be the minimum necessary to alleviate the practical difficulties because the record does not include sufficient analysis and alternative building footprints, reduce encroachment, reorientation of the structure, or any other layout option that may allow reasonable use with less variance relief. That's a yes.
Number 6, does the variance request meet all the below criteria? No variance shall be granted where any of the following conditions are not met. adequate sewage systems or water supply capabilities can be provided. An approval finding would be adequate sewage capability can be provided. The environmental health director has reviewed septic plans and determined that the proposed septic system placement is acceptable. The record therefore supports a finding that adequate sewage treatment can be provided for the intended residential use, subject to installation and permitting in accordance with the approved plans and applicable requirements.
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead and do B, Dennis.
The plight of the landowner or hardship is not due to the circumstances created by the landowner. Approval finding, yes, the practical difficulty is not due to circumstances created by the applicant. The hardship arises from the parcel's existing configuration, the location of the roadway, and the applicable shoreline setback requirement. I'd say yes.
I would agree. The variance would not allow a use that is not already allowed in the zoning district. Approval finding, or yes, the requested variances would not allow a use that is not already allowed in the zoning district. The application is for a single-family dwelling and the dimensional relief only, not for a prohibited use or a use variance. That's a definite yes. D, Dennis?
There would not be significant adverse effects on the public health and safety. Approval findings, granting the request variance would not have significant adverse effects on the public health and safety. The request is dimensional in nature. The redevelopment would move the residential substrate further from the ordinary high water level and out of the more problematic existing location near the water and floodway. Yes?
I agree. Okay, conditions may be imposed. Condition number 1, the dwelling shall maintain a minimum setback of 132 feet from the ordinary high water level of the Buffalo River. Number 2, the dwelling shall maintain a minimum setback of 40 feet from the road center line of 110th Avenue North. And as we are all aware that a single no negates the request completely.
And they were all yeses.
And they were all yeses. So I look for a motion to either approve or deny the variance.
I make the motion to
On the
approve
conditions.
with the conditions.
Does the owner of the property or the applicant understand and able to live within the conditions? Okay. We have a motion by Dennis and a seconded by Tim. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Opposed? Motion is carried. The variance is granted. Thank you for your time. Okay, moving on to our second hearing. It's from Mr. Scott Dams, request for a variance.
Mr. Chair, if I could, Brian Melton here. I just want to advise the board, Mr. Doms is not present. I think in looking at the statute, it's silent in regard to moving forward without the applicant, but under administrative rules, the board can, and I'd be recommending that the board would move forward. There is proper notice to Mr. Doms. He was aware of the hearing, and specifically, it was moved previously with the notice to this date. The public is present. They're aware of the date. So I do believe it's appropriate under the rules, administrative rules, and the statute being silent, to move forward, basically default of him, or he wouldn't be able to make any comment. But I think Matt has the application, is going to advise the board of what he's asked for. So you'll have the facts as he's presented to them, and then obviously you'd still be able to take public statements from other people that are present. So I would be advising the board to move forward.
Thank you.
I would just ask that the board would make a specific finding that we're moving forward by default, or making a record that Mr. Doms is not present, just so it's on that record. I mean, he'll have the same ability to move forward and do whatever he wants with that after the fact, but it should be on the record clearly from the board.
Okay, this is a new one for me, so, okay, I would look for a motion to approve, to open the public hearing for Mr. Doms with the full knowledge that he is not currently present. And that upon approval by the county attorney, we are able to move forward. And now he's calling you.
Can
I think it's advisable at least to let Matt make contact and find out. I mean, if there's a specific excuse, that the board have to determine what that is, so.
Mr. Chair, that applicant just contacted me by phone and wishes to just withdraw his application.
Okay? We can do that.
Yep. So I don't know if did you open the public hearing?
We did not.
Okay, perfect. So. And he had advised that he will be sending that request in writing as well.
Okay, so then there is no opening of the hearing, so there's no public comment.
Yep, because he has chosen to withdraw it,
Okay.
his application.
We'll see you next month.
Well, thank you, and I thank Clay County Sheriff's Department for, okay, and I neglected to ask this at the beginning, but is there anybody in the audience or online that wishes to speak for something that is not on the agenda?
You don't have to
We
do that for the board of
this one?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, and
Yep.
Your entire team, Matt.
Yep, you're welcome.
Changes, please.
Have a good night.
recognize faces over the last 3 months, except for Jerry. Nothing. Okay, is there any unfinished business?
No, Mr. Chair.
Any new business?
No, Mr. Chair.
Would you like to make some up? No, Mr. Chair.
Got nothing.
Okay, motion by Tim to adjourn the meeting, seconded by Dennis. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion is carried, meeting is adjourned.